everyone. Let's see if we can get you a little straighter. Hi, how are you all? We're going to cook live today because I have been gone for ages because I always procrastinate on video editing. So I thought, you know what? Why don't we try filming live while we cook and just seeing how that goes, right? So yeah, we're going to give that a go. Today I'm going to make bread. Hang on a minute. I just realised when I walked past that my calendar was the wrong month, so fixing that before I forget. Yeah, today we're going to make bread and I have some olives to use up, so are you straight? Yeah, I have some olives to use up, so I thought it might be nice to make olive and rosemary bread. And I thought we could chat at the same time. And if nobody shows up live, that's okay, we don't have to chat. Because if I end up alone for this whole live stream, I'm okay with that because I still enjoy the cooking. So, I'm just going to open up my laptop because sometimes I like to look up recipes as we go. I don't think I'll need to today, but just in case. And if we do end up chatting, then I can see your comments easier on my laptop than I can on anything else. So we will do that if we need to. Okay, so just going to open that up now. Let's see if that works. We won't be long. We'll start cooking in a minute. Oh, I've got an error. I don't know why. Maybe no one will see this. Oh yeah. That's okay. If we can't do that, we can't do that. We can always look at the phone if we have any questions. Okay, so we're going to make some bread. And I have olives to use up, so we're going to make olive and rosemary bread. So let's get ready. I'm going to need olives and yeast. Yeah, that's not working, so we're going to close that down and take it out of the way. We'll just focus on the bread today and less talking and more on cooking. So we opened up some olives last week for pizzas, and I don't like to waste olives, but I'm also not a person who thinks to just grab a couple of olives for a snack or throw them in a salad for lunch. Let's be honest, I'm not a salad girl for lunch. I'm more veggies than salad. So that should stay. So I am going to use up the rest of these olives in bread. Just going to see how old they are. Consume within 14 days. Yeah, we're good. They opened last Monday. Okay, so these are the olives. They're just from Aldi. And we're going to do the basic ingredients for bread, but I'm going to leave out the oil because I'm oil free at the moment, and taking the oil out of the bread hasn't made a difference, so now I cook bread without oil. So we're going to need flour, yeast, sugar, salt, water, and olives and rosemary. I'll get that. see my cat Bob come in at some point. Hopefully you don't see him because he won't jump on the counter, but you can never really predict what's going to happen when you're live, so we'll wing it. So for the bread, I use the same basic recipe every time because it's really easy. Bob, get down. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm going to push over. Apron. Don't really have an apron today, so I think not one that's going to help. We're going to get a bit floury, I think. I'm going to put this on anyway and see, but I think I'm going to end up with flour all over me. I washed all the aprons and dishcloths yesterday, so I'm just waiting on them to dry. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is get all the ingredients. And I don't have exact measurements for you today because that's not how we do it. We kind of wing it because with bread, I think I've done a YouTube video before a couple of years ago where we did this bread recipe but it had oil in it, and I did exact measurements in that. So if you want them you can go there, but with bread you pretty much just, you kind of wing it. You go with basic amounts and then you add more flour if you need to, or you add more water if you need to. So yeah, I'm just going to make it how I make it, and hopefully that will be fun. Okay, wash my hands. My trouble child, Bob. Adorable and always trouble. Okay. I'll give this a little wash because it's dusty. It's been a couple of days since I've used it. Stand mixer today, but you can knead by hand if you want to. Take that 10 minutes to knead it enough. And I like to do things a little bit easier, so I've got the mixer, I might as well use it, right? So first thing we do is add water, and I'm just going to use a coffee mug and put hot tap water straight in. Just get the bubbles out from when I washed it. I'm going to have to point you down so you can see what I'm doing, aren't I? I never think of that part, but let's do that now. Okay, that's good. Yeah? Bring you up a bit. Just a touch. Can you see? I think you can see. Okay, so cup of hot tap water. And straight away we go in with yeast. And for each half a kilo of flour, we're going to do 2 teaspoons of the yeast. So we go 1, 2. And that's done. So that can go back in the fridge. Next is sugar. So we can get that yeast going. Just 1 teaspoon will do. I don't mind a little sweetness in the bread. Okay. And then let's get the dough hook going and give it a bit of a mix. sometimes when they do the dishes, they don't do them great. So I find myself rewashing sometimes. I have to line that up a bit better. But yeah, quick mix. Now we're going to go in with flour and salt. And I'll do 500 grams of flour, just to keep it nice and easy. And so I've got a kilo packet, and all I'm going to do is kind of eyeball it and just feel around that 500 gram mark, because it's half the packet, so it's nice and easy. If you want to make it even easier, just make a double batch of bread and use the whole thing. So that goes in. And remember when I said at the start, it's not an exact measurement. It really depends on the weather. So if you don't get the exact 500 grams in, that's okay. You're probably going to use it later when you're kneading anyway. So that goes in, and I'm going to do salt. What have we done so far? We've done water, yeast, sugar, salt, flour. That's it. Because normally I would put in about 1/8 of a cup of oil at this point. But I'm oil free at the moment, so we're not going to do that. Hang on. Just want to be able to reach it a bit better. So a teaspoon of salt. Oh. And there we go. We'll just give that a mix for a minute. I'm not going to put the flour away because I might need it later. So I start on 2 with a KitchenAid, because if I start right on 4, which is the speed that I like to knead with, flour's just going to go everywhere. But see how now on 1 and 2 it's just started doing most of the picking up? Now we switch to 4. And that's going to keep going now until this bowl's clean. And I am going to get these ready. All I'm doing is just lifting them up from the bottom of the jar. And I'm going to give them a quick drain. And that's it. And I'm going to eat one. Starting to clean the bowl up, but back here it's not. So we're going to give it longer. Come on. I'm just going to push it down a little because my mix is a little bit misaligned right now. I think it needs a little fix. But that's okay. We'll work with what we've got today. That's better. So I've got olives, and we're going to chop them up a little. Push these guys back a bit. If you're wondering, These aren't soaked in olive oil, they're soaked in brine. There's no oil in the ingredients. Okay, so I'm just going to grab some olives, chop them in half, and then we're going to just tip them straight in. How many olives is a bit of a guess. I think I'll start with not too many. And then we're going to mix them through and just see what it's like. Olives are in. Now I've just got some dried rosemary. If you have fresh, definitely use fresh. But I don't have any, whoa! I don't have any fresh. So let's go back on and we'll see what happens to the dough, huh? Hopefully it'll incorporate with the mixed up, but if not, we'll do it by hand. Whoa. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, it's not terrible, but it's not great. So let's do it by hand. I'm just going to take this off and rinse it. Oh, you know what we forgot to do too? Is turn the oven on. If I do 200, you can do whatever works for your oven, somewhere between 180 and 220, and then you'll be fine. Okay, so this has turned out interesting, but I feel like I've definitely chopped the olives too big for it, but that's okay. I'm going to put more rosemary in. And then just, we keep going by hand and see what happens, hey? I think one of the best parts about cooking at home is that as long as the food's safe to eat, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know? And I say that as somebody who has always been traditionally a recipe follower, until this year when I started this new way of eating so that it would be better for my health. I started eating meat-free, dairy-free, egg-free, and oil-free. And I thought it was going to be difficult, and it turns out it's really not. I eat a lot of comfort foods, and yeah, I really like it. Okay, so this is what the dough looks like. It's very, very sticky, so I'm going to wet my hands again. And now we need it to rest. I'm not using oil, that's why I'm using water. Okay, so that's in. Let's rest it. I'll put a tea towel over the top, and we'll give it about 20 minutes or so. And go from there. Do I have any tea towels left, or did I wash them all yesterday? I'd have to go with just a cloth. That will do. Okay. And I'll think of something for the rest of these babies later. But I'll put them in the fridge for now. Come on. It's just going to become the watch Marissa put a container lid on show. Okay, we're good. right, so that's going to rest for about, hang on, that's going to rest for about 20 minutes. And I'll put the timer on so I don't forget. And then after 20 minutes, I'll add a little more flour. We'll give it a bit more of a kneading. And then we will shape it into a loaf. Now, while we're waiting the 20 minutes though, let's think of something else to do, hey? I have a copy of the 1990 version of Common Sense Cookery Book. I'm obsessed with this book. It's like going back in time. So what if we do something from here? Look at this. This is amazing. My mum has the best copy ever. I think it might be from the 70s, maybe the 50s. Anyway, I have the 90s version. I bought it when I first moved out of home, and I also bought book 2. But book 1, obviously my favorite. So yeah, while retaining the easy to follow style that has made previous editions invaluable to absolute beginners and experienced cooks alike, this revised edition of the Common Sense Cookery Book reflects modern taste and healthy nutrition in its choice of recipes. So dishes range from boiled eggs to chicken satay, roast lamb, and include meatless main courses as well. My family still eats meat, dairy, eggs, oil, so I'm happy to cook for them as well. My meals are really simple at the moment, mostly soups, rices, boiled potatoes, roasted potatoes, veggies. That's pretty much it. But I still really love cooking. So I wonder what we could make out of this today. I made Anzac biscuits yesterday, and the recipe in this was really interesting because you know how you can find a few, I've got cookbooks behind you, you know how you can find a few different of the same type of recipe, like the recipe is different but it's for the same thing. Well, I seem to have this love for discovering a simple Anzac biscuit recipe. So I just realized I haven't checked if you guys are chatting. No, I think we're good. Good. I didn't want to ignore anybody. Okay, so I've been looking for lots of different types of Anzac biscuit recipes. And the one that I love has brown sugar, and the one in here has white sugar. It's not a huge difference, but I think brown sugar makes them more chewy. Okay, so this has basic plain cake, vanilla biscuits. Anyway, I'll show you the Anzac biscuits I made yesterday. See? They're a little crispy. Not crunchy. Not crunchy the good way. Crispy like my oven was too hot, so they cooked a little too fast, but that's okay. Oh, fish cakes. Cooked or canned fish, 4 medium potatoes boiled, salt and pepper to taste, butter, lemon rind, parsley, 2 eggs. Do you know what I love about this cookbook is a lot of the stuff is just regular ingredients. You don't need to buy anything really expensive or special for it. Meatloaf, breadcrumbs, mince, onions, carrot, oregano, Worcestershire, tomato sauce, salt, pepper and egg. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Corn fritters. Oh, the corn fritters are interesting because you've got the recipe and it just says a can of corn and then fritter batter. So you must be able to use that batter for heaps of different things. 145. Fritter batter, self-raising flour, pinch of salt, melted butter or oil, and water and an egg white. That's pretty easy. Cinnamon crumble ring, that could be nice. 2 cups of self-raising flour, I've got that. 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 egg, 1 cup of milk. 3 tablespoons of margarine. Maybe we could make that next. Rainbow cake, meringues, I don't know. Biscuits and slices. Vanilla biscuits. Sorry, it's going to be boring while we wait for the bread to rise. because I'm just obsessed with looking through these books. Do you want to see some other cool cookbooks? Actually, I probably shouldn't bake anything while I've still got Anzac biscuits, hey, because if there's too many things, the kids are not going to eat them. They're just going to go to waste. Here's another book I love. Where is it? Oh. Look at the size of this one. Woman's Weekly Cook. How to cook absolutely everything. This makes me happy. I might do some washing up in a minute, but I'm just going to show you a couple of favourites out of that book first. So this book, you want to go down low so you can see the book? There we go. So this book is amazing, because it has a lot of basics and they're all separated into really nice categories, beautiful pictures. But you know, the funny thing is with recipe books, I don't know about you guys, but I find I have the same favorites over and over again, and then I completely forget all of the other stuff that's even in here. I've put a heart next to the things that I love the sound of and that I want to try and make like they make it. You know, and there's everything from the simple stuff like porridge, bacon and eggs. This is the breakfast section. Spanish tortilla, mini muffin dampers. Oh my gosh, they all sound amazing. But then on the other hand, I really like simple cooking as well. So this has porridge with hot water, rolled oats and milk. And I know that technically I could make it with plant-based milk, seeing I'm dairy free, but I can't be bothered buying plant-based milk because I don't drink much of it. So I just make my porridge with water, rolled oats, banana and a sprinkle of cinnamon. And I've found that's been really easy, is to switch out a lot of the milk for water and a lot of the oil for water. Oh, what's this one? 3. Polenta and corn fritters. I must have a thing about fritters today. Look, boiled eggs. Preparation time 5 minutes. Cooking time 5 minutes. Put your eggs in the saucepan. Add enough cold water to cover the eggs. Over high heat till the water boils. Stir constantly with a wooden spoon. This will centralize each yolk. I did not know that. After 5 minutes, the yolk will be set. See, I read on an internet recipe a while ago that hard-boiled eggs needed 11 minutes. 11 minutes. But 5 do the trick whenever I use them. These are drinks, finger foods. Oh, there's that. Wonton. Oh, that looks good. Spring rolls, sausage rolls. This is a really easy one because it comes with ready-made puff pastry. Onion, breadcrumb, sausage mince, beef mince, egg, tomato paste. Oh, that's a good way to use up tomato paste. Minestrone. Oh, soups in general. So I'm really into soups at the moment, but I only make them really simple. So it's just onions, garlic, saute the veggies, add some stock, add some water, simmer for 15 minutes and blend it if I want it blended, and that's it. So the oven's getting hotter. That is not really doing much rising, but we'll come back to it. All right, let's do some washing up while we wait. I feel like I need to add a little disclaimer that says nobody promised this video would be very entertaining or very good. But the funny thing is, when I watch YouTube videos, I kind of like the real life ones where you're just hanging out with somebody. So we're going to wash some dishes just while we wait for our bread to rise. And then when the timer goes off, we'll keep doing bread. Will you be able to see me there? Oh, maybe not. There's a handle in my way. Will that do? Yeah, that'll do. Anyway, I think I'll just quietly wash dishes for a while. It's very awkward talking to nobody. We've got about 10 minutes left. So if you want to go for 10 minutes and then come back, that's fine too. And then we'll finish with the bread. Sounds like the oven's hot enough. I just heard that little click it makes when it hits the right temperature. Shaking the jar. You can't see any washing up going on, can you? There we go. I'm just having a bit of a cruisy day today. I work from home and I'm doing one podcast edit, and then apart from that I don't have any big deadlines today, and I had a terrible sleep last night. I woke up every hour and everything's fine. I just, you know, sleep was very restless. So today is going to be a day just a little cruisy. So the work that needs to get done gets done. The stuff around the house that needs to get done gets done. But in between those things, I'm just chilling out, having a bit of a slow day, which I don't mind at all. The kids will be home from school shortly after 3. We'll hang out together. But, you know, nothing fancy on a Monday. No going out in the afternoon. We're just hanging out at home. Might read a book. Ooh, I might start a puzzle. Got a jigsaw puzzle that I bought in the last school holidays, and I know it sounds really jaggy on me, but I really like puzzles. I find them really soothing, calm, relaxing. I don't need to do them all in one sitting. But the only downside is because I don't do them in one sitting. Since I got 2 cats, I have realised it's harder to do a puzzle than it was when we were a pet-free home, because I'll leave the puzzle on the dining room table overnight and then the cats jump up on it and mess it all up, and then I have to start all over again, which is, you know, if you have any experience with puzzles yourself, you'll know it's very frustrating. And so I've tried a number of things to make that better. For example, I tried putting the box over the part. Ooh, I don't think that was meant to happen. I tried putting a box over the parts of the puzzle that I had done already, so that the cats couldn't see it, but they just jumped on the box, which moved everything and the puzzle got ruined. I tried putting a tablecloth over it so it would look like there's no puzzle there at all, but the cats just jumped on the table playing some sort of cat chasey game, and so the same problem happened, or the puzzle got moved around. And then for a while we tried having a separate table in my bedroom, which was great, and I got the puzzle done and that was no problem at all, but then one of my kids needed that table in their bedroom for their homework. So that was a bit of a bummer. So I lost the table. And we have a table outside in our entertainment area, but it's a lot colder out there in the winter. So yeah, that sucks. So I can either rug up and do the puzzle outside, or I can just not do puzzles. And neither of those options are very appealing. But I think I'm going to do it. I think I'll do it out back. Of course, we also have 2 dogs. So there's a risk that they're going to get into the back area and mess up the puzzle too. So it's a little risky anyway. But you know, we're living on the edge with our puzzles. I'm sure it will turn out fine. Okay. So how long have we got left on this bread? 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and then we're going to check the dough. So let's get our kneading board ready. Take my rings off too. Make sure my hands are nice and clean, because I'm going to knead by hand. So I just use a really big chopping board. And I'm just going to move you back so we can talk while we do this. What was I saying? I used a really big chopping board, yeah. Oh, that is looking pretty good now, that dough. I'll show you in a second. I'm also going to get a big tray out and a baking mat. So that I don't forget later when I need it. Okay. Stay there, buddy. Sorry. You okay? Alright, so we just use one of these. It's kind of like a Silpat mat, but it's from Aldi. And that's it. Now, I'll make sure I've got some flour ready to go, because I always find that I add more flour. I'll get that from the smallest packet. I usually tip out too much flour actually, but better too much than not enough, right? Just pop you down a little so you can see, huh? Can you see? I think you can see all right there. Yeah, that'll do. So there's only about a minute left on that dough. And what we're going to do is shape it. Actually, I'll get the rosemary out and the olives out in case we want to add more. We're just going to shape it and then leave it on the mat, and then we'll be good to go. I'll give it another 20 minutes or so to rest, then we'll pop it in the oven And then we'll eat some delicious bread later. Oh, you know what I love? That moment where you kind of punch it down. I'll show you. Just wait for that timer. Oh, there we go. So you just give it a little punch and let some of the air out. Or a poke. So I'm just going to tip this straight onto the board. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Flour in my hands so it doesn't stick too much. And I'm not going to work it a lot, I don't think. Because now that I've got it out of the bowl and I'm taking a look, I don't want to add anything to it. I think it's fine. So let's push most of that flour away. Should I maybe put a little crust of rosemary on top? Possibly. Yeah, we could do that. I'm just going to kind of roll it out for a minute, get that excess flour off again. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, so we'll get a big knife, make it nice and hot. And we'll cut it through a little. Pop it on the tray. Nice and easy. And sprinkle some more rosemary on it. Okay, now we rest again. Just for another 20 minutes or so. Nice and covered up. That's it, right? Super easy. Put this stuff away again. Wash the last couple of things. We might have to do some laundry together while we're waiting so that we've got something to do. Incidental chores are the best chores. The chores where you don't actually feel like you're doing a lot of work because you're just kind of doing them while you're waiting for something else. They're my favourite. Okay, so the dough bowl gets a rinse, and the chopping board and knife get a wash. I'll bring you back over in a second so we can hang out together. Alright. Okay. So excess flour. Oh, there's not too much. Great. Let's bring you back over here, okay, so we can chat. There we go. Don't mind the handle. All right. Chopping board. We have a dishwasher too, but obviously this won't fit in it. And I tend to stack the dishwasher during the day as we go with the everyday stuff like the bowls and the cutlery. And then hand wash the extra stuff here and there if I need to. I like to have a sink of hot soapy water ready while I'm cooking, because then it doesn't feel like a really big deal to wash up right after. And this tap thing helps a lot. Okay. My ring's back on. Let's do the bowl now. beach. So it's about 2:30 here. The kids will be home in about an hour. And then it'll be a great time to chill out in the afternoon, maybe have a cup of tea, start my puzzle. Oh, maybe I'll just read a book. I'm halfway through a book that I got from the library called The Swan Maid by, oh, who is it by? I want to say Di Cole, but I don't think that's right. I'll take a photo and pop it on Instagram later so that you can, or put in YouTube shorts. I'll put in shorts so that you can see it. And it's really good. So it's about this girl called Lottie. She works in like, I think it's like Victorian times, in a pub. She's 20, she's been working there since she was 12. She's a chambermaid. She gets treated like crap. And so when a soldier's wife comes along and tries to poach her and get her to work for her instead, she has no problem leaving and going there. And now we're up to the part in the book where she's just getting used to her new role as a lady's maid. And I am loving it because I really like books that take me back in time or forward in time. So I guess I really like, not time travel books, but books that are set in the past or the future. Actually, if I'm honest, I like time travel books too. I don't think I've found many books that I don't like. So, yeah, that works. Oh, that reminds me of time travel. I'm also reading the St. Mary's, Chronicles of St. Mary's series by Jodie Taylor. And it's awesome. Really, really good. I'm up to the 3rd book. And I'm just getting them from the library because a couple of years ago, sorry about the handle, a couple of years ago I decluttered a lot of the books that I had, and I had a lot of books for sentimental reasons, like the Janet Ivanovich series with Stephanie Plum, you know, the number ones, one for the money, two for the dough. I love those books, and they're books that I would reread, but not all the time. And you know, we're up to what, 24, 25, 28 in those now. So I decided to donate them, and then I immediately regretted it because I wanted to read them, and I forgot that I donated them after a while. So I started finding them at the library, and then yeah, I started getting hooked on just getting books from the library again, like I did when I was a kid. And so now I get library books all the time, and the only book series I have that I own is Outlander. Because I'm obsessed, and I just don't think I could live my life without that series of books nearby, because I just really want to live in that world, you know. I don't necessarily want to live in old-timey Scotland and you know, go to war, but I love the Claire and Jamie world, you know. So I find it very comforting to read that book series. And so I like to keep that. And that's my book series that I go to when I'm super bored and I need something to read. Or, I'll get better with the tripod, guys. Yeah, I read it when I'm super bored and need something to read, or when I'm stressed out and want to read something that's calming, or when I'm just having a bad day and I want to read something that reminds me that it could be worse. But also that gives me hope that it could be better. Yeah. Or if I'm having a lovely, relaxing, wonderful day and I just want to fill in an hour or two. I've read all the books that are available so far, and I'm waiting on the next one, and I'm super excited. Whenever that comes out, I will be here for it. But the beauty of the Outlander series is that honestly, you don't mind waiting a few years for each new book, because they're so good. You can pick up any of the books and just go back and jump right in at any point. And you know, sometimes I think I can't even remember which book has which storyline, which part of the story anymore. Like which book, you know, is the one where Roger and Brianna are getting married, or which book is the one where Claire, you know, gets abducted, or, you know, I can't remember which book is which anymore because all of the storyline has blended in. And I love that, so I just pick a book at random and then I kind of go, oh, that's where we were up to. Okay, oh, the bread's going well. It's looking very nice. So when the bread's ready, what I'm going to do is just wet my hands and pat the top of the bread so that they have a nice wet top on them, and then stick them in the oven for 24 minutes, because I found with my oven, if I do 200 degrees Celsius and I put bread in for 24 minutes, it turns out beautiful and soft and fluffy inside, but hard enough that you can knock on it and hear a good knock when you get it out of the oven. So it's just a tiny bit crusty on the outside. I don't like my bread too crusty. I like it just a tiny bit crusty. Anyway, just thinking what else we can do while we're waiting, and I think my cookbook shelf might need a clean. Look at this, it's really bad. See? And I only tend to clean and organise it once a year, which I know probably sounds terrible, but it's true. So let's do that. We have 10 minutes to kill, so why not, right? Okay, so I'm going to start by taking down everything behind there. That's my laptop, so that can sit separately. I'm just going to take the books down, give them a little wipe over. I'll use this cloth, and then I'll get a new dishcloth for the rest of the dishes, because these are going to be a little dusty. Actually, was that a good idea? I don't know. I could just drop all of them while we're hanging out together. And then if any strike me as ones that need a bit of a declutter, I can just put them aside. Oh, there's so many cooking magazines and Aldi catalogues up here. Oh, and speaking of lots of papers, look. I really need to do something about that. I'm not going to do it today. I might do it. It's just a whole bunch of mail that's not urgent and needs filing. I'm not going to do it today. I am going to do it at some point, and I'll do it one day when we're cooking together in the kitchen, because I think we're going to do more of this, guys. I love the YouTube videos where they're like 10-minute videos and they're fun to make and edit, but I can't do them all the time because I'm kind of lazy. And so I like just chatting and just living my normal life, and thought, why not do it together here, right? These are all going in the recycling. Because let's face it, most of the specials are over by now, and if there's a recipe in them, I bet we can find it on the internet too. Magic Mince. It's one of my husband's favourite cookbook magazines, so that's not going anywhere. Aldi. Oh, it's the owner's manual for my rice cooker, but I use that rice cooker every day and I know how to use it. Oh, this book I borrowed from a friend. I really need to give that back. That is random recycling. Oh gosh. All the books are starting to fall now. Maybe this is not a good idea after all. Oh, these Simply books are awesome. Okay, so let me know. Margaret, you love puzzles too. Oh, thank you. Have I tried using a wooden puzzle board cover? No, I haven't tried that. I really should. Thank you, Margaret. I will give that a go. That was so nice of you to say. Yeah, so Simply Books, wooden board cover. Okay. I wonder if you can buy them or would I have to make one? So Simply Books are amazing. Annette Sim wrote these, and there are new, more modern versions of them. These we bought in the 90s. Apparently that's when I bought all my cookbooks. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. Apparently in the 90s is when I started buying cookbooks, which makes sense because I turned 18 in 1997. And that's when I started living by myself and cooking. And my mum bought this series for us. There are 6 books that I have. There may be more right now, but these are slightly healthier ways to cook favourite meals. Hamburgers, lasagna, cake, meatballs, stroganoff, bolognese sauce, And I think we originally bought them because, do you remember back in the 90s, doctors were saying that you needed to eat egg whites instead of whole eggs to be better for your heart. And Annette, who wrote these books, this is Annette, she looks nothing like that anymore. She actually looks younger now than she did then. She started cooking this way to lose weight and get healthier. And then it kind of just took off. Look at that difference between the old photo and the new one. And it kind of just took off because the books were so popular and people with diabetes were having really good health results following the recipes. Anyway, so my mum was like, well, you know, we have heart trouble in our family, we have diabetes in our family, so we should, you know, try and take a little more care with our cooking as well. So we bought those books. And you know, the funny thing is I'm not really into just cooking with egg whites. I mean, I'm egg free at the moment anyway, but the rest of the family, we're not worried about just egg whites and stuff anymore because we don't eat a ton of eggs. But the recipes are so tasty that we just follow them for lasagna, bolognese, the baking, the stroganoff. Oh my God, the stroganoff is amazing. This one has tacos. So good. Anyway, long story short, these books are still available, but you can get a more modern version of them. And you can get a couple's version. So you know how when all your kids have grown up and they've moved out of home and you're only cooking for 1 or 2 people, or if you live alone and you don't want to cook and freeze a week's worth of meals in one go, you can get a 2-person cookbook that has all of the best recipes and they're in portions for 2 people and the instructions suit that. So yeah, it's amazing. See, this is Annette in book 6, which was about 7, maybe 8 years after the original. She looks more like that now, but she looks even younger than that now too. She has a Facebook page. And she cooks live twice a week. And I love her. Merry Christmas book. I found this at the op shop. It was, I think, only a couple of dollars. I can't remember, I took the tag off. Okay, that's creepy. But this is a Woman's Week. Oh no, a Woman's Day. This is a Woman's Day cookbook. It runs you through the main course, so roast turkey. Lily, you can, oh Bob, you can go. There you go. Sorry, Bob just wanted to go. Christmas cakes, centerpieces for the tables, gifts that you can make. It's like an actual Christmas book. Things for around the house. Let's look at these. Do you know what's weird though is I bought this book because I love the Christmassy feel it gives me. It reminds me of when I was growing up. And I don't think I've actually done anything with it. But I don't want to let it go because it just makes me feel so cozy. These little felt decorations. Those are the ones I remember crafting when we were growing up. Okay, so next. Oh, this is borrowed from a friend too. I need to return that. Okay, we're coming up to the Nigellas. Nigella bites. Super early 2000s is when I started becoming obsessed with Nigella. Not stalker obsessed. We've never met. But I loved all of her shows. And every single book that she has put out, I don't think I have all of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. There's definitely more than 8. Maybe I have 9. I have 9. But in every book there is a golden recipe that I just adore. So I'm going to show you. Yeah, still got like 3 minutes while we wait for the bread to rise. So in Nigella Bites, let's see. It's one of my favorites in here. And you know, over time the difference in the look of her cookbooks is amazing. You can tell all the different trends. Okay. Halloumi with chili. Okay, so I had never tried halloumi cheese before I watched Nigella Bites and I just adore it. Forever Summer. There was this Oprah episode once and it was full of people who were complaining about their partner not being able to cook very well, and so they had Nigella on to teach one lady how to make 2 of the recipes in this book, and they are Hasselback potatoes and lemon and rosemary chicken, and they're barely even recipes because they're so easy. This is the Hasselback potatoes. Basically just cut into them and cook them in butter, and then you roast them, and they're amazing. And then for the chicken, Oh my gosh, I'm just, you know when you have an amazing memory of food. Oh, I just got that right now. Courgette fritters, I'm gonna have to try that. Where is the chicken? Spatchcocked chicken with lemon and rosemary. I don't think they have a picture for this one. Oh, there's slow roasted garlic and lemon chicken too. So that one there, spatchcocked chicken with lemon and rosemary. I still make that now. And those two, she cooked those two together on the Oprah show. Amazing. Just made it look so easy. Nigellissima? Yeah, the Italian cookbook. Oh, this is the one that taught me that Brussels sprouts could be nice again. And also she has this recipe of peas with penne cheddar. I never thought to put peas and bacon together before. But the Brussels sprouts with rosemary and lemon. When I was growing up, Brussels sprouts were just boiled in water and served plain, and I hated them, but I didn't know you could cook them any other way. This is the feast book. This one has, oh, where is it? This one is kind of, it's almost like there's special occasions that, it's like, you know, holding dinner parties, feast, that sort of thing. And it's kind of like the book is separated into, yeah, special occasions. The chocolate cake, oh my gosh, old-fashioned chocolate cake. Yum. Okay, so this is what the chocolate cake looks like. And this is exactly how I like cakes to look. Nigella Express, when we first had our babies and we really wanted nice dinners and we had no time. I got so much comfort from this book. The chicken masala pot pies in here are amazing. Oh my gosh. Potato and mushroom gratin, whatever, however you say it. Oh, so much comfort food in that one. And kitchen, if you like reading cookbooks as much as you like cooking with cookbooks, that's the one. And then Christmas, of course. Obsessed with Christmas, Nigella. Simply Nigella. I didn't love this one. Maybe I haven't spent enough time with it yet. But those are my Nigella obsession books. And I do have a Jamie Oliver. I actually have a few Jamie Olivers. But the 15-minute meals. He does this Cajun chicken with mashed sweet potato, where he basically boils the sweet potato and then he adds sweet chili sauce. Amazing. Okay, I'm just going to wipe down that shelf and then we're going to get the bread in the oven. And then I know this might be a little bit boring, I hope you don't mind, but we're going to hang out together until the bread's ready. Oh, let's just put the bread in the oven now then and I'll clean while it's actually cooking. That's a great idea. Okay, so here's all my cookbooks down there. Sorry, Nigella, we're going to move you over so I can put the bread tray down. I'm just going to wash my hands because I'm going to use my hands to put water on top of the bread. I don't think these are so much cooking videos, it's more like just hanging out videos. But that works for me. Okay, I'm almost back again. So the bread looks like this now. Look at that. Just fold that up. I'm just going to wet my hands and then come back and pat the top of the bread. And then we're going to put it in the oven. And then that's it. That's all we have to do. So, just a little pat. Okay, let's pop it in for 24 minutes on 200. Top shelf. I find my bottom shelf burns a little bit too much, so I like the top shelf. Okay. Should we get back to cleaning the thingy? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm just cleaning the cookbook shelf. It is so dusty. I'm surprised we weren't covered in dust while we were talking before. And you know, sometimes my friends who know I have this YouTube channel and they know that I own beautifulyorganised.com sometimes they say, not in a horrible way, but they're like, oh, they come over and they go, oh, I didn't know that your house would be so normal. I thought it would be perfect. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do. I like to be organised so my life's easier. I don't want a perfect house. It's a lot of pressure to keep it perfect then. And I don't have very good style. So I'm not great with design. I'm never going to have a Pinterest pretty home. I love them, and some of my friends that do have beautiful homes, I love being there. But that's never going to be me. My houses, like I've got more than one. My home, I just want it to be relaxing to hang out at my house. I want to be cozy. I don't really want things to match and be perfect because I love the coziness of mismatched things, and you know, like blankets that don't go together but are super cozy to put on your lap when you're reading a book, and a lounge where people aren't scared to eat while they're sitting on it. We're not dining room table eaters in our household. We tend to be just sit and chill eaters. Eaters? Is that a word? Anyway, I like my house to be cozy. I'm not very good at running a beautiful household, but I am very good at running a household where people can come over and just feel comfy like they live here. At least I really hope that's what people feel like. Alright, so, but in terms of organising, I am putting the Nigellas up all together. Then the Jamie. Do I keep the Nigellas together, or do I separate them? Because I'll show you in a minute, but my bookshelf bows a little in the middle, and if I put this one in the middle, I think one night the whole shelf will come down. So I'm going to put that right at the end of the bookshelf, and then put the Nigellas so that they're together. Yeah, that works. And then the Jamie. Oh, they're all going down. And then the Annette ones, the Simplies. Okay, so they're done. Oh, this one's a bit dusty. Okay, that's good. And then the Randoms, which also includes a preserving magazine. I forgot to put the timer on for the bread. How long do you think it's been? You know what we're going to do? We're going to put it on for 20 minutes now instead of 24, and I'll just check it at 18. Okay, I might forget to check it at 18, but it'll go off at 20 and then we'll check it then. Okay, so I bought this whole jam making set with a really big stock pot. Can you see it just there? Really big stock pot, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make some jam. Just a couple of minutes. Thanks, Margaret. It feels like maybe 3 minutes. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Anyway, you know, we can just check on the bread, and if it doesn't look like it's done enough, I can put it in for longer, right? So it'll be okay. So yeah, I bought this whole jam preserving thing, and I was obsessed with the idea because I was watching a lot of homesteaders on YouTube. And so then I made jam one day, and it was just too overwhelming to use the whole set. When really I make jam once a year. It's my dogs, I'm sorry, someone's walking their dog. All of our neighbourhood dogs are rescues, which means if one barks, they all seem to have like a doggy meeting and all bark as well, back at each other, which is very cute, but very noisy, and I feel sorry for our neighbours that don't have dogs. Oh, this is just a little handwritten book. When I went to Serbia, my dad's side of the family is Serbian, and I went there a couple of years ago, and I just, every time my dad's cousin Živka cooked for me, or with me, and taught me a dish, I would write it down in that book. And so I want to keep that book forever because it has a lot of the family recipes in it. Okay, so we were talking about something and I can't remember what. It was before the dogs. It's my husband's little bookend that holds the cookbooks up. And it's it's very dusty, so I'll give it a little clean. So I'm not gonna lie, I've done exactly where the cookbooks are, and then I've left the rest of the shelf because it's very overwhelming, and I think I'm gonna do it next time we cook and hang out together, because it's got a lot of little shed related things that my husband has come in and taken out of his pockets after fixing something in the shed, and then all of that stuff has just found its way to the top shelf in our kitchen. And so if I try and organize that stuff right now, it's just going to mess up my whole counter. Everything's going to get dusty and dirty. I'm going to feel overwhelmed, and the kids are coming home in about 20 minutes. It's not the right time to start that section. So even though technically we haven't organized the whole shelf, we have cleaned off an important section of it. And you know, I think that's one of the things we talk about in my course. I have a course called Less Mess, Less Stress and More Calm. It basically just teaches busy mums how to organize their house so that it runs smoothly with the kids. And one of the main things we do there is we took bite size. We have this thing called perfect versus easy, and perfect would be decluttering the whole shelf and making it all spotless and organizing it completely. But easy is just doing the section that doesn't feel overwhelming, so that next time you walk past, you feel good looking at it and not cranky anymore at the whole shelf. And yeah, there's a part of a shelf that still needs organizing. Hang on, I'll flip you and show you. See? That's my cookbook holder. But see the rest? So it's not perfect. It's very dusty up there. Hang on, I'm flipping you back. Too many times. There we go. So yeah, it's definitely not perfect, but if I tried to do the whole thing at once, I think I would just never get to it, you know. And that's what we say to the mums in my course too, is, you know, they're mums of young ones. My kids are older now, but I remember what it was like to feel overwhelmed at trying to declutter or organize or clean something, and feeling like you had to do the whole thing at once. And when you've got young kids home with you, or if, you know, it's not even just kids, sometimes you get interrupted. You know, someone will knock on the door, the phone will ring, school will call and ask you to come and pick a kid up early for some reason. Or if you do have young kids at home with you, you know, the baby will wake up, or the toddler will need a snack, or, you know, I found my kids would play, I'm just collecting bread tags, we'll talk about those in a second. My kids would play really well when they were toddlers. Every time they ate something, every time their tummies were full, they were great. They would, you know, as soon as we finished breakfast or a snack or lunch or dinner, I would have this 10-minute window, and as they get older, the window gets bigger, but a 10-minute window where they would just contentedly play or snooze or watch a bit of TV or hang out with someone else in the family besides me. And that would be my window of freedom. When little tummies are full, that's when mums get the most freedom. Parents, carers. All right, so as we've been talking, I know I just said I wasn't going to do anything else, but see, when you take the overwhelm out, you get more motivation. I'm just doing a tiny thing, and that's to collect all these bread tags. So I've realized that me and my husband, we have a habit where as we're making toast in the morning, or as we're using bread for something, we keep our bread in the freezer. So we take the bread out of the freezer. If we use the last of the bread tag, I don't like throwing them out. We want to recycle them. And so we find ourselves just putting them up on the cookbook shelf or on the freezer. And then look at the size of that. That's all the bread tags. So now that I've noticed that today, I'm just going to quickly put them in a container, because a friend of mine, I give them to her, she sends them off to get recycled, and they get money back towards a charity for doing that. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly get a container. Oh, I have one already. Have one already. But also these are really handy to use to reseal frozen veggie packets. So, oh, and you know what else I have in here? I don't buy them very often because we try and use less plastic now, but sometimes I have to buy a packet of freezer bags for something, and then I have these little things, and we never tend to use them, but I don't want to throw them out. found another bread tag. I don't want to throw them out, so they go in that container. And then I think, okay, if I need to seal up a bag, that's the container I go to. And then, yeah, I'll just give this whole container to my friend when it's time for recycling. I should probably check in with her. We also have a container in the pantry that holds our batteries that need recycling. In a perfect world, we would have rechargeable batteries, but they never seem to last and we end up spending a fortune on them. So now we buy batteries from Aldi, just for the kids, you know, little night light, fairy lights, remote controls. We don't use a ton of them, but when we do, I don't want to... I think I just got cut off because my battery's dying. I'll plug you in. Anyway, we don't use a ton of batteries, but when we do, we need them to be affordable. So we buy them from Aldi and then we recycle them by dropping them back to Aldi because they have a container to collect them in store. And so, I'm just going to move you over so I can plug you in while we're talking. Yeah, so what we do is keep a container for batteries in the pantry, which is a little strange because we don't use our batteries in the kitchen. But the pantry just seems to be the cupboard that holds everything. Anyway, I just saw that then because I was putting the bread tags back. I ended up cleaning the top of that cupboard with a disinfectant cloth because it was just that dusty. I try not to use too many of those, but sometimes it's the easiest way. It's the way that makes things more doable. Just trying to make sure we're nice and straight. So we've got about 10 minutes left on the bread, and I've reached that point of baking now where I'm dying to open the oven and see how it's going, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Instead, what we'll do is have a cup of tea together. I love that you've been hanging out with me. So I'm just going to fill up the kettle now, and I'd love to know, do you fill up your kettle all the way whenever you run it, seeing you're going to use the electricity? Do you think, okay, well, I'll do a whole kettle of water at once, or do you just do exactly what you need? Because I think there's pros and cons for either way. Alright, let's put this on. So personally, when I put the kettle on, I do the whole kettle of water. And then I just try and use up that whole kettle of water. So I'll use it as a way to stop procrastinating about doing the dishes. It's going to get noisy in a minute. Sorry, my kettle's pretty noisy. But I'll use it as a way to stop procrastinating actually doing the dishes, like the hand dishes. So we've got the dishwasher, but the hand dishes, I'll leave them all day if I think I can get away with it. And so what I do instead is whenever I boil the kettle, I boil the whole kettle, and then I think, well, I don't want to waste that hot water. So I'll pour it in the sink and use it for the washing up. And if I don't do that and the water cools down, then that's fine. I just pour it in the water jug in the fridge. Or I use it as cool water for the next lot of washing up. So yeah, let's make tea. What type of tea? Tea today. I think it's an Earl Grey day. I haven't had proper tea, loose leaf tea, in a little while, and I really miss it. But I have this whole packet of tea bags that I don't want to waste, so I'm going to use those first. I don't think I'll make a pot of tea. I think I'll just do 1 cup. I got these 2 mugs from the Mother's Day store. The kids picked them up for me. This one says, shh, Mummy's quiet time. Mum's quiet time. And this one is my new favourite travel mug. This one I take to the movies. And I love it because it holds 2 cups worth of tea and it keeps it nice and warm. But for now, we're just going to go with this one. So I used to love Earl Grey tea with milk, but at the moment I'm not drinking milk, so I just have it plain. Oh, that smells amazing. That smells amazing. Twinings Earl Grey tea. Oh, always smells so good. I didn't think I'd like it without milk because the milk is so cozy and comforting, and I'm really big on that sort of feeling. But it has been really nice. You know what else is good? The Twinings does? Peppermint tea. Now for regular tea, I'm a Lipton or a Tetley's girl. But for peppermint tea, Twinings, oh my gosh. Have you ever had the Cadbury's chocolate? Hang on, let me put you up so I can look at you properly. Have you ever had the Cadbury's chocolate that is the, what's it called? The one with the gooey peppermint. Have you ever had that? It's the one with the green syrupy peppermint inside the Cadbury's chocolate. So like the block of chocolate. This tea, when you smell it, it's just like you're eating Cadbury's block peppermint chocolate. It's just, oh, it's amazing. It doesn't taste like that when you drink it as tea, but it smells like that. So yeah, I love it. We're on about 6 minutes before the bread's going to be ready, so I'm very excited about that. And we've got about 12 minutes before the kids come home, so this is what I like to call perfect timing. I can't believe we've been hanging out for like 80 minutes together. It's nice. It's very nice. So the kettle's nearly done. And I'm just checking. Usually I get to about 2:30 and I get paranoid that the school is called for some reason and I've missed it. But they haven't. So yeah. So tell me if you have a favourite tea. Let me know what your favourite tea is. And I'll pop you down and we'll have a bit of a tea making session together, shall we? Let's move you over and pop you down again. There we go. Somebody just rode past on their bike, hence the doggies. Let me know, how do you take your tea? I don't do it too strong now that I'm not having milk. And I like to top it up with a little bit of cold water so that I can drink it straight away. And I hear that lemon's nice as well. Margaret, you drink sweet iced tea. Oh, I love iced tea, but I do like cinnamon tea or mint tea. I have never tried cinnamon tea. What brand? Let me know what brand you use. Because I've never tried cinnamon tea and I would love to. But yeah. Mint tea, definitely. That's going to be too hot. It's already too hot. Oh, it smells amazing. Don't check the bread yet. Don't check the bread yet. I can't see inside. The Anzac biscuits have butter in them, so I can't have any of that today. But they're looking at me from the microwave. And they look so tempting. So I'm going to leave them down on the counter so the kids see them when they come home. Because the kids are not sure. A friend of mine had it and I really enjoyed it. Oh, okay. Well, what I'll do then is next time I go to the shops, I'm going to look for cinnamon tea. And I'll report back and let you know what I find. And we'll see how they go. Yeah, my kids are nearly home and they're older now, so they're almost 10 and 12. And so now they're at that age where they come home from school and they get their own snack. And we have a snack box in the cupboard. It looks like this. It's big. And it's a bit of a compromise. I try not to buy a lot of plastic, and the snack box is where we totally fail. Because when I'm home baking, that's fine. We don't use a lot of plastic. But I'm doing a bit more work than I used to do, which means that I'm not baking as much as I normally do. And the kids are in this phase where they love packet snacks that they can just grab and go. I do hear reports sometimes that at school they're not allowed to take their lunch boxes out to the playground. They eat lunch in the classroom. And so if they take their boxes out with the homemade cakes and cookies in it, then they either lose the box or forget to bring it back to the classroom. And so they kind of have this thing where they want to take a packet of cookies or pretzels and then just throw the rubbish away. And zero waste to me is like, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to use up all that plastic. So at the moment we're compromising, and I'm doing half baking at home and they're having half packet snacks. But when they come home from school, because they get their own snack now, they go straight to that snack box and just grab a packet of something. So what I'm trying to do is leave these on the counter so it's the first thing they see, and hopefully that's what they'll eat. And if they don't, I'm just going to stick them in the lunchbox anyway. And then I'll win. Alright, how are we for time? A minute 26. Okay, we're going to get the baking tray out. Not the baking tray, the, what do you call that thing where you put hot things on it? Cooling rack. We're going to get the cooling rack out. I'm going to put my computer away again. But in its proper spot this time, not with cookbooks. And then when the bread comes out, I'll show you a close-up of how it turns out. I hope it turns out nice. I'm going to have a piece for afternoon tea. I don't know if it's going to go with Earl Grey tea, so I might have it later. We'll see. Is there anything better than fresh bread out of the oven? I love hot bread out of the oven. When we went to Serbia a couple of years ago, there was this little bakery nearby, and my favourite thing was to go first thing in the morning and get fresh pastries or breads for breakfast. And we would use it as my practice at speaking Serbian because I only know the basics. And I spent a month over there, and I realised when I came home that most of the terms I picked up were food related. You love hot bread too? It's the best, right? It's cozy, it's tasty, it's simple, but it's lovely. Love it. Oh, it's time. Okay, how are we going to do this so you can see? I'm going to move you back a little bit and bring the cooling rack over. Margaret, I have loved hanging out with you live. This has been really nice. I hope you've liked it too. Okay, I'm going to pop you down here and then tilt you that way. Go back to where we were before. Cooling rack. Let's see how this turns out. Oh, my oven needs a clean. It looks beautiful. It looks amazing. Look at that. Oh, that's a good knock. And thank you. Oh, that's so lovely. That is the best knock on bread I have heard in the last couple of weeks. So we are going to turn off the oven. And we're all done. I'm going to let this cool. I'm going to let it cool, and then in order to let it cool without the cats getting to it, because my cats, they're adorable, but they're trouble, I'm going to put one of those little food umbrellas over the top. And there we go. I need a new one of these. It's getting very holy. And we're done. It turned out beautiful. Oh, I'll take a picture for Instagram when I've sliced a couple of slices off, and we'll put it on there so you can see in more detail if you want to have a look. But honestly, it's so simple, right? It's a simple bread recipe: water, yeast, flour, salt, sugar. I didn't even bother with oil this time. And then olives, chopped up leftover olives, and rosemary. Fresh rosemary is beautiful. I can't wait to have a rosemary plant again. I used to have one, and then it got damaged. We had some storm damage last year, and the tree, I think it might have died before then actually. Anyway, we used to have a really good rosemary tree, and then it just got destroyed, and I really miss it. But dried rosemary still works really well, so yeah. Okay, I better go. The kids will be home any minute now, and I'm gonna go and sit down and finish my tea, and I will see you hopefully again soon. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.